This is FightFans Radio.
What is going on, everybody? I'm just, tweeting live as we speak about the music coming in. So this is brought to you by FightFans Radio. You're listening to the BJJ Addict radio show. I'm the host, David Carroll, a.k.a. Real DWC, the one and only. Who else could it be? I'm not here with Mr. Jerman right now, my PIC, which stands for Partner in Crime. I'm on a family trip in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. For anybody that doesn't know where that is, I don't blame you at all. Not much going on here, but it is a beautiful city. It's nice, and it's quaint, quiet, and other cute words that I will have to look up in the dictionary later. Remember, as usual, go to iTunes, download some episodes, rate the show. I want to break some barriers here. I want to get number one BJJ radio show. I know there's some big dogs in the way, but I'm going to be the Master P of the BJJ community. You know, a big mogul. All right, guys. So remember, also FightFans Radio. We have everything. You think about it. You check us out. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channels. Go subscribe. Facebook, go like our page. Thanks to everyone supporting BJJ Addict. We just hit 1,000 likes the other day. Huge for us. It was a grind to get those numbers going, and hopefully it takes us a little bit faster to get to 2,000, and that'd be great. Tonight's guest will be Oliver Geddes. I might have just butchered his name. We'll find out when he gets on the show, which will not be too long. I believe he's coming in soon. For those that you don't know about him, he's from the UK. He'll explain exactly where. I'm not good geographically with a lot of that Europe and places. So he'll explain exactly where he's located. He is right now doing some big things we'll get to talk to him about. Traveling all across North America right now. I believe he's in Los Angeles. That's where he'll be calling in from. So he's taking a good chunk out of his day to talk to us when he's in beautiful LA, palm trees, California love. You know, he's got it all going on right now, and he's taking time out to speak with us. So we're grateful for that, and we'll see how his tour is doing of North America, what he thinks of the people, the Americans. I want to be controversial, but you guys don't have the same reputation as us Canadians do. But I love you anyways. I actually love America, but, you know, the people talk, they love Canada for some reason, probably because we're a little quiet little brother. Hold on a second, I gotta take a sip of this beautiful coffee, which I won't mention the name of until we get a coffee sponsorship. I'm putting it out there. We need a coffee company to step up and sponsor this radio show, because I am as big as an addict of coffee as I am BJJ. That's a fact. So, for those that don't know, we lately have been on a little tour ourselves. I know we haven't been as busy putting out videos or updating the website, which we just did. But, you know, myself, I've been competing a lot, done some IBJJF tournaments, which I've never done before. For any of those that don't know, that's one of the premier people running tournaments out there. They have a little bit more of a, bragging rights to say, if you win this tournament, you could say, I'm a IBJJF medalist, or I won first at this Open. It really does say that you're more elite of a grappler, because it's not a small tournament. The pressure's on there. It's very well run. It just has a unique feel that most tournaments don't have. So I was out at the Boston Open. For those interested in seeing some of the highest level black belts, I suggest, if you're a fan, go check out an open IBJJF tournament, because a lot of superstars show up. I'm talking about people that I own DVDs of. I'm sitting there watching them live. You get to see the trend of what's coming out next. What are the professionals doing? Where can I get better? You know, you see something cool you want to add into your game. I mean, now's the time to do it right away when you get back to the gym after seeing it. It was really good experience for me to compete in these tournaments. You know, things didn't go my way, but man, there's the creme de la creme out there, you know, and still getting used to the competing thing. To be honest, it's man, it's a bitch. It's hard for me. But every tournament, I'm learning something new, and the nerves are getting less and less, and it's more of a good feel. Like, excited to compete. But back to the Open, you know, we put some matches out on YouTube. Check out the BJJ Addict TV. That's the YouTube channel. We got JT Torres, Oliver's out there. We got DJ Jackson, man. People are loving that match. He seems to have a lot more fans than I expected. You know, people really eating up the DJ Jackson match. You know, Formiga, that's Rafael Barbosa's on there. I got Augusto Mendez coming out. Good black belts. I mean, top of the line. I know they were just out after this tournament. Those two I named, and Mackenzie Durham, they went out to the Origin immersion camp that they just had in Maine. They just finished that up, ended on September 1st, I believe. And from what I've heard, man, this was one of the best BJJ camps ever ran. Have you ever been to a camp, guys? I personally never been to a camp. I've done just seminars, and I always say, man, imagine if we had a whole week with so-and-so. Well, imagine you had a week with 5 or 6 black belts teaching you, and then black belts that showed up to train, to do the seminar also, or the camp, I should say. What an experience that would be. Mind-blowing. I know Felipe Costa, and he puts on a camp every year. It's been in Mexico, it's been in Greece, it's all over. You know, I think this would be something that beneficial to everybody to go do once. The more and more I talk to people, the more I realize, you know, is there anywhere like Brazil? No. Do you have to go to Brazil? Not really. This is what I'm hearing. So if you disagree, you know, just always hit us up on Twitter, the BJJ Addict. You know, I don't mind hearing a little criticism, saying you're wrong. I need to hear it sometimes, or else my head will explode. It is getting really big right now, guys. Really big. Also, the Montreal Open, you know, this is where I got to speak with Oliver, or I heard they call him Oil, so we'll find out more about that. It's a short form, I guess, but maybe there's another meaning behind. You never know. Maybe be a cool story. But this is where I spoke to him and asked him about getting on to BJJ Addict Radio, and you know, very friendly guy, excited to do it, even though he has a jam-packed schedule. I believe this Saturday, I'm excited, the American Nationals, which is another IBJJF tournament, is doing a tournament in Carson, USA. I believe Carson's in California, so we'll see how he's feeling for that mentally, and if traveling and competing on a regular basis, like every week, is running a toll on him. Because, I mean, I've been traveling a lot lately. Seem to be out of town every week, competing, and then, you know, I've been a little sluggish. It's hard keeping up your diet also. So these are things, you know, we'll get to hear from a man at one of the highest levels. I mean, he got to face DJ Jackson at the Boston Open. I mean, he's facing the best of the best right now, so we'll see what his take is on that, and if it has been running a toll. Because, I mean, just myself, I feel a little bit sluggish. It's hard to catch up, and I mean, now he's switching time zones nonstop. It's got to be weird. If there's a silence for a split second to 3 to 4 seconds, that's me taking sips of this delicious coffee. It's keeping me going. We'll see if he's a coffee fan too. I mean, it's either that or energy drinks. There's no way you're going as hard as he is and not be sipping some sort of caffeine, I'll tell you that much. So anyone today, this will be the first time I've ever done this. I'll check Twitter today. I never do. I'm too selfish. I love asking the questions. I love having the good questions. But today, for the first time only, if you're listening live, we're going to just switch everything up. Send me a message on the BJJ Addict. That will be the Twitter name. So if you have a question for Oliver, send me it on the BJJ Addict. That's THE BJJ ADDICT. And you know what? I'll say your Twitter name, and I will ask him the question that you guys want asked. So that's the first time we've ever done that. So let's do that, and hopefully we'll get some good questions. And if I already have this question written down, I'll still pretend like it's yours. I won't take the fame away from you guys. So, I guess I'm just in the friendliest mood possible today. So send in your tweets, guys. I hope someone does it. It'll be kind of cool. No one's ever really tweeted any questions in because we haven't given the option. So it's also a good way of seeing who's in there live and on Twitter. I love to interact with the fans, so get at me. Get at me. Hello? Oliver? Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us on BJJ Addict Radio.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm not doing too badly, thank you.
Hey,
Long day already.
Yeah, I can imagine. So for those that don't know, I just let them update. We talked in the Montreal Open, and you agreed to come on our show. And let's start at the beginning. How old and when did you start doing Jiu-Jitsu, and who was that with?
I started... Okay, sorry. I started Jiu-Jitsu when I was like 21, just finished college, and I started with a small academy kind of close where I lived under a purple belt called Ricardo da Silva, and I was with him for about 6 months, and then I moved across to train with Roger Gracie, where I've been ever since.
That is amazing. And when did you get your black belt?
I got my black belt in December last year.
Okay, so not even a full year yet. Can you explain to me maybe if there is a difference since you've reached black belt compared to all the other belts before this?
In terms of rolling or just life or what exactly?
In general, because I personally think, at a brown you might not get bugged as much. I don't know if you did, but you see a black belt on someone, regardless of your age, you might be a young guy, a lot of people will look up to you and take your word very serious because of the hierarchy in BJJ is very, authentic. We believe in it and there's no BS in it. So, you have a lot of wisdom just having that belt color on you.
I wouldn't say wisdom. I think with the way Jiu-Jitsu is right now, I think both brown and black still have that level of authority. I think in the end it will be black belt that has the authority, so that kind of feel to it. But right now, I mean, in most academies, a brown belt is still fairly similar to a black belt in the sense they've been training for ages. There's many brown belts around who've been training longer than quite a lot of the black belts. But I think there's a divide from like senior purple. There isn't that much pressure. As soon as you hit brown or black, you're seen as an instructor, as a guy who can answer questions. For me personally, as a black belt, I haven't felt that much of a change, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot. I think the main thing you realize is just that there isn't really as big a gap as everyone thinks there is, in the sense that there are purple belts who are very good, who will give most black belts a very hard time. There are brown belts who might as well be black belts, but when you're a lower belt, you see things a lot like there's this bigger divide, and everyone seems slightly more special than they would otherwise be. People are people, and the belt gives you a rough idea where someone is, but there's so many overlaps, it's kind of hard to tell.
Good point. Do you feel any pressure having your black belt under arguably the greatest person to do jiu-jitsu? Like,
I suppose to an extent, but at the same time, it's not like I think it would have been different if I was like the first or the second or something like that. I mean, Roger, I've lost track of how many black belts he's given now. It's not a lot, but there's like 15 or 20 or whatever. So there's a lot of other guys. So I don't feel any more responsibility than any of they would. So yes, I mean, people look at you differently. I mean, you do get a different reaction if you just train at a random gym. You know, someone will just say he's a black belt under Roger. You know, whereas in any other situation they just say he's a black belt, and that makes a difference, I guess, to how people view you. But and yeah, I suppose there's slightly higher expectations, but that's kind of more in the rolling than it is in, you know, any other aspect. I don't feel I have to do more in life because I'm a black belt under Roger. But I think, yeah, the average person you roll with will expect more of you. And sometimes I can manage that, sometimes I can't. It depends who the guy is.
Absolutely. With that being said, that's people's expectations. But how about Roger as a coach? He does not have a higher expectation for you, correct?
He's a very relaxed guy. And I suppose the one thing that is different, I mean, I suppose of all of his black belts, right now I'm the only one who is actively competing and carrying his name at black belt adult around the world. But at the same time, I think he's aware, I mean, not basically to talk myself down a little bit, I don't think he expects a huge amount right now. I mean, again, but I mean, I had a fairly good run at purple, but I didn't really achieve a huge amount at brown, so I don't think it's expected that I make a massive impact at black belt straight away. I'm trying, you know, and I've had some good wins and some not so good matches, but I try my best really to get my standard up to the point where, you know, he'll be, you know, he can be proud of what I've achieved. I mean, I think he is already, but it's just not. I don't think he expects that much yet, because for anybody, even for a world class brown belt, you know, who should have been a black belt, their first year at black belt is usually pretty bad. So apart from the rare prodigy sort of guys, whereas I was a good brown belt, but I was never a phenomenal world class brown belt. So the jump to black has been a little bit harder. But I'm trying to play catch up my own way.
That's good. Speaking of that, then, what are your expectations as a black belt at this moment, and then say in a couple years from now when you're more mature and you've, you know, all this experience that you're accumulating right now?
I'm not sure about the more mature thing. I'm not. The other thing is that I'm not as young as all that. Unfortunately, I turned 28 like 4 or 5 days ago, so I'm not.
Happy belated birthday!
A black belt at 21, you know, and then go, well, I've got 5 or 6 years to really get to my peak. But my expectations. I mean, I know about my expectations. My target, such as it is. So originally I did an interview a long time ago where I said my target was to win a fight at black belt adult at the Worlds, which doesn't sound like a particularly high target, but it was something I thought, you know, it didn't seem likely at the time, because it felt that the World Championships was this place where all these killer black belts, you know, who've been black belts since they were like 19 and have been training their entire lives, all that kind of stuff, where they all turn up and I expected to get smashed. I said, as I've trained longer, I realized that that gap is closable. My target at the moment now is to try and make it to the final day of the Mundials now, which is top 8 at my weight class, and I think that's doable. It's not easy by any means, but I think that's a sign. If you can make it to the final day, which is top 8, yeah, that you're a legit world class competitor. You know, that's only one more fight from there to a medal, but that's kind of what I would hope to do as a competitor, at least. I mean, I'd like to win medals at majors, but again, it's a long way still to go. And although, you know, you can have a good roll against some of these guys, rolling against them and competing against them is a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. And really got to have your game on point, and I think I just need more time to develop that, really. Nice.
I was actually wondering, for those that don't know, I told them you've been traveling all across North America right now doing all the IBJJFs. Has traveling and maybe lack of diet that you're used to played a role in your performances? Because I've been traveling a lot and I feel sluggish lately. And also, one more thing I meant to add in was every week doing a tournament. Is it harder than competing once a month?
I find, I mean, I'm finding it's not too bad right now, really. I mean, I'm the only problem sometimes is the weight class you fight at isn't quite where you want it to be. Partly because the competitor numbers are a little bit small at a lot of these competitions. So every now and then, I've had a couple of fights where I fought a guy who's in my weight but who clearly isn't my size. Because I'm where I am naturally, and I can't be dieting hard every week at least. So it's a little bit harder to peak correctly. And in turn, also when it comes to submissions and stuff, I have to tap straight away or early, just because again, I you know, the worst thing that could happen is I mean, I'm four weeks in about now. I could have got injured in the first competition, and that would have just killed everything. It would have made the whole trip pointless. So the priority is always staying safe, staying uninjured. In terms of competing week on week, I don't find it too big a difference for me, really. I mean, my diet and things. Honestly, my diet is generally terrible, so it's not really too big a deal. Yeah, I've lost about 20 pounds since I arrived in North America. 15, 20 pounds, depends. It fluctuates a little bit. Since I arrived about a month ago. So that's been a bit weird. So I went from being middle heavy when I arrived. Now I'm somewhere in between light and middle. Trying to get down to light, but again, it's difficult to do because, you know, if you try it and mess it up, you miss the competition. And if you realize you can't make it, then you end up fighting a weight class above that you're still small for, and that kind of stuff. So, honestly, it hasn't really been too big a deal in terms of the competing. It's stressful mentally. In the sense that you know, there's always, you arrive and in a new place, you have 3 or 4 days of training, and you have to wind down and compete, you know, over and over again. But physically, I haven't really found too much trouble with it, to be honest.
Well, that's a plus then. Training in the UK and training in North America, major differences, or is it all the same?
Not massively different. I mean, you know, training partner to training partner is not a massive difference. The only thing I guess is that Rogers is relatively a very mature academy. It was there before I started there, so it's been there for 7.5 years, and there's guys who are training in the area beforehand. So we have a much stronger sort of purple belt and up section than many other places would, particularly again around here. When you have newer academies, there's a lot of good white belts, good blue belts, but purple belts tend to be kind of senior students here, and there's like 1 or 2 brown belts and a few black belts. Whereas again at Rogers, there's a lot of purples, quite a few browns, and so there's a bit more depth at the higher grades. But in turn, again, you know, at any academy, you don't know how good someone is till you roll with them. I mean, there's blue belts who, you know, you'd normally kind of write off, and then you find you know, that they're the big blue belt prodigy of the academy, and they're competing, or they're rolling at a purple belt plus level. So that, you know, is a little bit, yeah, every role's different, but style for style, it's not massively different. It's just good to have different people rolling with different black belts, particularly because that's the one thing it's quite hard still to do in the UK. You know, there's black belts, and I know them, and I've rolled with them, but it's nice to meet a new black belt who you don't really know, you don't know their style, and you just want to, and you have a week or so to train with them, figure out their game, have them figure out yours, and then you're off somewhere else, and there's new people to train with.
Absolutely. So, for those that don't know, where are you now, and which academy are you crashing at?
I'm currently in Mission Viejo, training at Gracie Bar Mission Viejo, which is Chiron Gracie's academy. Which again, I've only done 2 sessions there so far, but it's been good so far, and I'm going to go back again tonight. Got a few more sessions with the rest of the week before the American Nationals, which is this weekend.
Nice. And is there people in your division this time?
There is at the moment there is one, and I've unfortunately forgotten his name, which is not very impressive. I think it's Ben Salomon. I was trying to get down to lightweight for this one because there's a lot of big names at lightweight, but I just wasn't quite sure if I could do it. And again, I don't want to spend a whole week training and trying to cut about 10 pounds, which I would have. So
yeah, you wouldn't be too friendly right now.
This one, and try and get down to light for next weekend in Atlanta is the plan.
Nice. Well, good luck for that. Cutting weight sucks.
Well, I don't really. I just kind of just deny myself stuff that I would normally have. I don't really cut in the conventional sense. I probably should, but yeah, it's basically just watch what I'm eating, trying to see what my weight is, and just fight where I'm at. You know, I can't do like a camp leading up towards something where I can drop it down. So it's where I end up.
Good point. How nerve-wracking, not nerve-wracking, how annoying or does it anger you or bother you at all when you go to a tournament like last week and there was no one to compete with, and it's already booked, the plane tickets, the money spent, so on?
Yeah. So in general, it would be annoying. The way the Montreal thing turned out, I was moderately happy with because it was kind of halfway through. Well, not halfway through, like a few weeks into the trip. It was an opportunity to have a weekend kind of off, and a bit less stress and everything from there. And I mean, I already paid for everything anyway. It's not like I decided I was going to go, you know. And then I arrived and found I had no one to fight. It was part of the trip was to go to Montreal. If I can compete, great. But sometimes it just doesn't really work out that way. But it's frustrating a little bit. My big pet peeve about that is the fact that is the separation between the adult and the masters division, and the fact there's no option for an adult competitor to change their division when it comes to trying to get a fight. You know, anyone at masters has the option of dropping down to adult, but I had to sit there and take a double gold at a competition where I would have been happy to fight, but I don't have the option to change to masters or anything like that because I'm not of that age. And I don't know how you deal with that, but without, you know, I don't, maybe if you separate it into, you know, just a professional and advanced division or something like that, might make it a little bit easier. But it's just, yeah, it's frustrating to an extent. But I enjoyed having the week off and a little bit less stress. But yeah, it's just the fact that I can't, even though there was guys there at different age categories, I had no way of fighting unless I could persuade them a week in advance, which makes it even worse to drop down into my category because there's no flexibility on the day, which is, you know, it's part of a professional event, but it's also slightly irritating.
I never knew that they had the option, so that's unfortunate that someone didn't drop down.
They can always change to adult, yes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. What I was gonna say though is that I saw you reffing, and is this something you've done before?
Yeah. That would be fairly unprofessional otherwise. No. I used to referee a lot, all the way through the belt, well, all the way through purple and brown. I've got a fairly large amount of experience with it. I just don't do it very much at the moment because, again, what I've been doing, it's just very hard for the Worlds and the Pan Ams and things like that. I can't be reffing for 3 days, you know, and fighting as well. That's just going to. I mean, it would make the trip pay for itself, but I'd probably perform terribly. That defeats the point a little bit. It's better to save up the money and just go and fight from that way. And for all of these ones, although I enjoy the reffing and it's okay because of the way the one-day events are, the whole day is very packed. So because the black belt division is usually at like 10 or 11 in the morning, then you have then you have to register for the Open. The Open is about 2 o'clock or something like that. Then you got to fight that. That finishes at about 3, and you'd probably be reffing in between that and before your first fight, and it becomes just too much of a day, and you don't get a chance to really get any rest in. So although I'd like to do it, if it's only a one-day competition, it's very hard to really put yourself in for that, unfortunately. So you know, I did it in Montreal because I had the time because I wasn't fighting, and it helped to make the trip, you know, pay for itself a bit better. But yeah, I've done the course before, the refereeing course, and I've refereed at a bunch of competitions, you know, around Europe and things. So, you know, I've got the experience. I just don't have the ability to split my focus that much on competition day.
Oh, nice. It's a good way to
Beg your pardon?
Pans, sorry. Are you doing the Pans in New York?
Yes, I will be. I have to rebook some flights because originally I was gonna finish after Atlanta, but I'm still here. My visa lasts till November, so I figured I might as well do something else with it. So I'm gonna try and go to New York for a couple of weeks, and then I think from New York I can drive down Boston for a Grappler's Quest on the week in between, and then do the Nogi Pan Ams, and then I think that's me done. So it's should be 10 competitions in 9 weeks, I think is the plan. Which is
real.
A lot of experience, if nothing else.
Yeah. What's the best part so far of North America that you never?
Good question.
Never thought of.
They're all different. I mean, the problem is a lot of the time I haven't really had the chance to see the places that I'm in, which is kind of sad, really, in a way. But some places. I mean, I am wherever I am with the people I'm staying with, and some of them have time to really show me around. Some of them, have to work and things. I fully understand that. So some places it's difficult to travel around easily. Honestly, the place I saw the most of, which I quite like, was Chicago. Just because it's a place where you don't need cars to get around in the same way you do in Vegas or whatever. And it was a good training environment as well as a good place just to sort of be and meander around in. But again, everywhere I've been has been interesting. I haven't been to most of the places I've been on this trip before. I mean, I've been around America a lot a few years ago, but never been to Canada before. Never been to Chicago. Never been to Boston. So. It's seeing a lot of things all kind of crammed together while still trying to get the training in. So it's difficult to do everything at once. But all of it's been good, and it's not done yet. So I'll see what else I can see along the way.
Nice. We got a Twitter question live right now from @SebHerias. He asked, could you share with us one thing that you wish you would have known at white belt that you know now?
There we go. Big questions. There's a different. Okay. First thing that makes it a little bit complicated. There's what I think. Okay. Basically, it's probably the best approach to jiu-jitsu is not there. Okay, I'll try that again. What I've kind of tried to do in my jiu-jitsu is to find ways around problems. I don't try and deal with problems at the fundamentals, which I probably should do. If I see a problem, I find a way to avoid that situation, in an unconventional way, and that's been okay for me. But fundamentally, as a white belt, the basics go a really, really long way. Is the sad reality. I know that sounds weird as like a Roger black belt, but our games, I mean, are very different, as you can probably tell. It's often easier just to put in the time, just to put the focus in on the basics at the beginning, because at some point you're gonna have trouble down the line when you haven't laid those things. Or to phrase the whole thing better, although it feels like a good idea at white belt and blue belt to say I'm just going to play guard. You have to develop your top game. I waited until about brown belt before I did that, and I think that was a big mistake. And also, when I was a blue belt, I decided at that stage that it was impossible to finish footlocks in a gi, which is not true at all. There's lots of different ways of doing it now, and I spent a good couple of years just deciding that I'd sweep people, I'd get on top, and if I wanted to go back, I'd pull a footlock that I expected not to work, and I'd pull guard again, which is awful jiu-jitsu, but it was what I did for a long time. It kind of worked, sadly, in places. But you have to be good at top, have to be good at bottom, and you can't. The longer you leave something to address it, the more problems you're going to have down the line. You're going to have to spend time playing catch up when you hit someone who causes real problems for your game. That wasn't a very concise answer, but that's what I'm going for.
I got it. Key points: basic footlocks work in a gi. Get top game. And don't work just guard, because that does seem like a safe zone for a lot of people. I myself agree. I played guard way too long. I wish I didn't some days. But I do see a lot, you know, the more I keep an eye on you and watch, you do love bottom half guard. Now, what's so fascinating about bottom half?
What's so fascinating about it?
Well,
Okay,
what do you find fascinating?
Honestly, it was the answer to most of these questions. It was Eddie Bravo back in the day, because when I was like a blue belt or whatever, that was kind of there weren't many how to describe this, game based instructionals. I think it's the best way to describe it. Like there was lots of sort of, this is like the old Henzo Hoyler, you know, Theory and Technique, those kind of books from back then, but they were kind of generic. My Eddie Bravo phase was just basically, it was the idea that you could release an instructional that didn't really deal with huge concepts. It was just a game and how that game managed to fit itself together.
Like a complete system, not just random moves.
Yeah, I mean, not random moves necessarily, but you know, there's a lot of fundamental. Again, this isn't necessarily the right idea, but this was the reasoning at the time. It's, you could learn a whole lot of different positions, or you can try and force someone into. So you could either you can be good at 100% of positions, or you can be good at 10%, and then develop your ability to force your opponent into that 10% of your game. And basically, half guard was a position where it was a position which you can get to in one step from every position in Jiu-Jitsu. Be it underneath mount, be it, you know, underneath side control. It's not necessarily easy, but it is possible in one step. Whereas if your game is closed guard, there's never going to be a one-step route back to closed guard. And I think fundamentally, when I started out, I didn't really have very strong grips. And again, this is a mistake, by the way. I decided, well, if I don't have strong grips, then I'm just not going to worry about holding grips. I'm going to do other things instead, which again is wrong. But again, that was what I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning. And I basically figured the only way I can control someone is if I fully commit my body to one small section of their body, basically. So I didn't like spider guard. I didn't feel ever in control. But when you have half guard, you have control of someone's leg. You've got your arms spare. You've got your body. You've got both your legs controlling some small section of their body, and you have control over them. It slows the game down. It gave me time back then to think. So I ended up spending a lot of time there. And when you spend a lot of time anywhere, you get good there. So that was kind of what it was. It was a logical decision. It was a position I could get to fairly easily, where I felt strong, where I felt I couldn't be passed in one step. Again, if you mess up a spider guard, you know, then they can leg drag you. Now it didn't exist really back then, but still, then you can get leg dragged. You can, you know, just get rolled over. You can get flipped, whatever, and then you get your back taken, and bad things happen. Half guard, you can get your guard passed, but you're going to see it coming. You have time to decide how you react or whatever from that way. And I'm just not a very quick person, and so I like the fact it slowed the game down a little bit, basically.
That's a good answer. That's a lot. I didn't think you were gonna give that much on it, so that was nice to hear. Anything you've been working on? No, it was a good thing. I liked it. Is there anything you've been working on lately, without giving too much? Like, not that you might try a competition right now, but you know, like you said, the leg drag. Once I discovered it, I've been drilling it a lot. Obviously, I like fancy moves. And Berimbolo really caught my eye, even though, you know, maybe I shouldn't be doing it too much. I really do enjoy it. Is there anything you've been working on? That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I think it's kind of, it's more general than that, I think. I mean, I don't, personally, again, this is again may or may not be right, but it's the way I do things. I don't really try to force certain things into my game. I kind of let things sort of happen from that way. So I'll try things out, and if they feel good, if I can hit them in training first, I will then usually try and you know, practice them a little bit more. So I'll get an idea for something, then try and make it happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to put in 1,000, 2,000 reps into something that doesn't feel right. Which, again, maybe it's a lazy approach, but it's how I find things works for me. And so most of the things I've got good at is stuff that I've done spontaneously in training, or sometimes even in competition. And if you can do something, I find, without all those things, you know, like you understand the principle of it. If you can hit it without all the prep work. Then you put in the prep work to make it yours. I find that works better from that way. So I mean, fundamentally, right now, it's the fact that my A game isn't good enough for the guys I'm fighting. So I'm not really trying to develop anything hugely outside that right now, because my best sweeps that work on everyone don't work on the guys I'm fighting right now. And so the problem isn't fundamentally with my. I don't think it's about change. I mean, maybe I should change my game, but it's a long way to go backwards to go forwards again. So I'm just trying to get comfortable with the kind of pressure and the kind of passing that the really top guys bring to the game, so I can start work. So I can work at least my basic stuff that I've been doing for years that just isn't. They work sometimes, but it's not coming together against the really good guys. So I don't see any point changing what I'm doing if I can't get the stuff I'm really good at to work yet. If you see what I mean?
Absolutely. Going back a second to what you said before about going to New York for a couple of weeks, where would you be training when you're down in New York? I'm
aiming to be at Henzo's. Roger's got like a long. I know a few guys who are there, and Roger's got a long history there, so I will likely be there. I don't really plan these things very well in advance, but that is the plan. As a couple of guys I can stay with, and then I'll just sort of see what happens. But yeah, probably Henzo's. There's a whole, again, it's a huge collection of black belts there, and again, just training partners. And again, partly this trip's about fighting black belts, and partly it's about training with black belts. And Henzo's pretty much covers the second part fairly clearly.
Yeah, I've heard stories where there's 20, 30 on the mat at one time. I couldn't even visually. I can't even see that. It's crazy to me.
I was in Abu Dhabi for a little while, for like a couple of the Abu Dhabi pros, and there's the whole program over there, and I've seen, I think it was 16 or 17 black belts on the mat in Abu Dhabi, and that when you started out again, as I did in a purple belt school, where I think one day we had a brown belt visit, and everyone was like, "Oh, is that a brown belt? There's a brown belt on the mat. My God, he must be really, really awesome." So to go from that stage, up to having a mat full of black belts is kind of, yeah. I mean, it still doesn't even happen much. Rogers, I think the most I've ever seen was like 8 or 9 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Henzo's, I think it has coming up on 2,000 students now or something ridiculously high. And so I imagine they're going to have enough depth in black belts to be getting on with.
My whole city where I'm from, I think there's 3 or 4 black belts in the whole city. So that's like a million person city. So you just named 9 people on the mats. That's huge.
Yeah. It's. I mean, even like London. I mean, London's not a huge city, but I mean, we've had jiu-jitsu there for quite a while. I said Roger has, I think, between 15 and 20 black belts under him, and that's in the London area. All of them. Then we have there's about 3 or 4 other major schools in London again that have at least 3 or 4 black belts each. So in London itself, there probably has to be 50 black belts there already. Wow. So people say that we're kind of behind, but I think honestly, Britain is actually better represented than many parts of America, which seems a bit weird, but it is. It is the way it is. So it's a bit strange.
Yeah, I just think they don't get the exposure that some of these people do. It's crazy. Like I knew who DJ Jackson or JT Torres or even Keenan Cornelius coming up. You find out about these people at a young belt age. I mean, maybe that's Lloyd Irvin, marketing genius. I don't know, but I feel like Britain. I don't know much about the black belts coming up out of there or anyone else barely.
Honestly, I mean, this is going to sound. Most of the black belts I've just mentioned aren't active adult competitors because back a few years. Before Roger started teaching, Roger's father started teaching there, and that was like 1997, maybe something like that. A long time ago, anyway. So a lot of the black belts at Rogers aren't technically Rogers black belts. They're under his father. They've been under his father. They've been training for 12, 13 years. They're a little bit older. Basically, there aren't that many active adult black belt competitors from the UK. In fact, in all honesty, competing internationally, there's just me at the moment. There's a couple of bigger names at Brown. One would be Stephen Martin, who you may or may not have heard of, who's one of Braulio's students, who won the Europeans and medaled at the Pan Ams and the Worlds. He's the guy who beat Jordan Schultz at the Euros. And the other one's Luke Costello, who fought ADCC, he won the Abu Dhabi Pro at Purple, and he just got silver at the Worlds this year at Brown. And he probably would have done well in the Absolute, but there was some political problem with the whole Gracie Barra 2 people per team thing, so he didn't get to fight, which was disappointing. But there's guys who are coming up, and I'm sure, that the names will be out there more. But at the moment, there just isn't. There's not many guys who will even fight more than just the Pan Ams and the Worlds. So
That's a good point.
There isn't really that push, unfortunately. But it will come. I'm just a little bit. I'm just putting myself out there a little bit more. So it's not because I'm better than any of these guys. It's just because I'm doing more, I guess.
I personally think it was a smart move for you to go do this tour. I mean, you're catching everyone's eye, and you're starting to make a name for yourself. You're not just referred to as Rogers black belt. So I think that's a plus. We're learning your name. It's a good thing, definitely. You're more than just his black belt.
Always referred to as Roger Gracie black belt. But again, that's the nature of carrying an instructor like that. His name with you. So I'm putting myself out there. I'm losing an awful lot. I'm not going to try and pretend that I'm smashing my way around America. But again, this is an opportunity for me to have a minimum of 20 fights at adult black belt. And a lot of people don't have that many fights, in a year or 2 years even. And I'm getting it done in 2 months. So there's doing all of these is just it's an opportunity for experience. I'll probably try and do the same again next year, I think, because there's just so many IBJJF competitions now. Previously there wasn't, never really bothered, but now they're all there. So maybe next year after the Worlds, I'll try and do the same thing again. It's just a chance to get experience, chance to fight, guys of all levels and these big names, and start trying to close the gap.
That's awesome, man. I wish I did a tour like that. You always do the opens.
I've had a couple of messages, from guys saying, "How the hell do you do this? Is it due to sponsorship or whatever?" Yeah. It's not really that expensive as long as you know people wherever you're going. If I was staying in at like a Motel 6 every night, I'd be bankrupt already. But you just, if you know people in each area, and everyone in Jiu-Jitsu is very supportive. Everyone is a lot of the guys I'm staying with I've never met before, but they've offered to help me and, to put me up and things. And so it's been, through their support, I've been able to do this. It really isn't crazily expensive. It's not that hard to do. And yeah, I think more people could do it if they just, I don't know, if they decided they wanted to, I guess. I don't know.
That's a good point. People probably don't even bother, looking into it, or, they just assume it's too expensive. So now you guys know out there, it's not that expensive. Just don't stay at a Motel 6 every night. Couple things before we let you go. One is that you always do the open weight. Have you ever thought twice about not doing it, or you just like, screw that, I got to do the open weight?
For this, it makes no difference. Again, I tend to do the open weight every time. I don't see any reason not to do it, to be honest. Right now it's all about experience. It's about getting as many fights as possible. If I feel that it's going to be a problem, and it's going to affect generally in all these competitions it's after my division anyway, so I've got nothing to lose just even by doing it. The only one that's different is, I think, Pan Ams and Worlds, where the and actually Europeans, where the absolute is before the division. But
I like that rule.
The only way you get hurt is if you decide that it's more important for you to win to resist a submission in the absolute. And fundamentally, I'm not going to win the absolute at the Europeans or Pan Ams and Worlds. Maybe at some point in the future I'll suddenly get really, really good, but I can't see myself winning it. So if I'm in trouble, I just tap. That's what it's all about, really. It's about staying safe. So Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys who I think that if I fought them in the absolute early, I'd be slightly scared. I wouldn't want to fight, Davi Ramos, Calisand, or someone like that in the
Mm-hmm.
absolute. They have the ability to hurt you very badly, very quickly. Or Bashesha for the same reason, actually.
Yeah.
Not because they're bad guys, but just their style. And so, yeah, those guys slightly worry me in an early absolute. But again, I'm coming out here as it is. If I lose my only fight, I get one match. So why not do the absolute? I mean, there's not. If I get a really big guy, I get a really big guy. It's not really that big a deal. You train with big guys. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. But it's just more experience, more mat time, and that's what I'm here for. So why wouldn't I do the absolute?
I like it. And without naming, obviously, Roger Gracie, who are, one or two people you really look up to? In the jiu-jitsu world, I mean.
Strange. Okay, I'm going to name quite a few people here, but I still think they're all in their own way. I'm not sure if look up to is quite right. But okay, the two people who I think slightly odd choices, both Adolfo Vieira and Bernardo Faria. Not specifically because of their game, but just because they're both still relatively young up and comers. Although not really up and comers, but you know what I mean in terms of time. And basically, I like the fact that that you can see how much it means to them, if you see what I mean. I like the fact that they genuinely they have this love of it, and this when you see how much every win means to them, and I mean you get other people who've been doing this for a long time. I mean, to choose somebody, someone like Shanji, for example. I mean, he fights very strangely. I mean, he's an exceptionally good grappler, and he has some exciting matches. But he just doesn't come off as the kind of guy who really, where you see the wins and you see how much the losses affect him. And so yeah, Bernardo and Adolfo have been very cool in that sense. And the other one who I've got a lot of respect for is JT Torres, just because of his attitude mainly. And he of all he's the only guy really who I run into a lot, who's always been very happy to chill out, and who doesn't seem to ever put on his war face. Before most people get caught up on their matches and they get really serious before they start. He's always been cool. I mean, he focuses, but he's still always happy to shake hands, ask how you're doing, and chat and whatever. And he's not too, he's got a lot of pressure given his position, but he doesn't let that turn him into a machine, basically. And yeah, he's the one guy I run into a lot. And even though technically we will probably end up being opponents again, well, I'll end up being in his division again at some point. He's always been cool, and he's always been, yeah, a good guy, a good guy around about who doesn't get too caught up in him. He's not arrogant. He's not caught up in the hype, and he just does his own thing. Really strange choice, but No,
it's a cool choice. It's nice to hear that. It just goes to show that BJJ is, we're all friendly guys, and we all know we have to face each other, and it is what it is, and we go out there and try to put on a good show, and. I respect everyone too. Usually when I compete against them, so it's cool to hear that you chose JT out of all the people. Any sponsors or anyone you would like to thank? Get it out there and let them know.
Well, first of all, before the sponsors, again, maybe they're not going to be listening to this, but a big thank you to everyone basically who's put up with me so far. Again, so
they're all listening. They are all listening. Don't you worry.
Yeah, the guys at Open Mat Toronto, Matt and the guys from Throwdown in Vegas, all the guys from Gracie Bar Chicago, all the guys from Florian Martial Arts in Boston. So far, that's them, and the guys at Gracie Bar Mission Viejo, and anyone else down the line. But they're the places I've been so far, because again, obviously, without their support, this would be like a 4-week trip and I'd be bankrupt. So thank you to them. Sponsor-wise, thank you to Scramble, who basically provide my entire wardrobe, which is that's gears and everything really, and every single piece of clothing I'm wearing right now is theirs. So they make a lot of they make a lot of things a lot easier, and made for fighters who although they couldn't, well, basically they support me for supplements and things, but obviously it's quite difficult for me to be carrying giant tubs of stuff around America, but they supported me whilst I was in the UK, and they provided my giant bag for traveling, so thank you to them as well.
Nice. That's awesome. And just anything in closing you'd like to let people know what's coming up for you, or do you want to make a prediction right here? This is your time.
I predict I will get at least a silver medal this weekend, given I'm in a two-man division. I'm just going. What else? No, I mean, if I could predict everything, it wouldn't be any fun anyway. My only thing that I'm looking to do at some point in my project, once I get back, I've got a few more competitions to take care of, but I'm going to try and put out, try and put some of the stuff I've got together into a DVD, which doesn't sound particularly professional when I say it like that. An instructional thing from there, and again, I'll update people when I get that sorted. But that's my project once I get back from this, is to spend a couple of months just filming something together, an instructional thing on my half guard game, and a few other things that hopefully people can get something out of. And
nice.
More
when that's done, hit us up, let us know, and we'll try to help promote it and get it out there for you, because I'd be excited to see that personally, so I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be.
Well, the sort of the vision of it, so actually, is just to quickly get into that, is it's supposed to be it's a half guard instructional, but the main thing is, because I've had whatever many it is now, 400 and something matches, there will be match footage of everything that I'm teaching. I know lots of people have done that, but most people don't have the back catalogue of footage that I have, given that every single one of my matches involves about 7 minutes of half guard. I put quite a lot to draw from in that regard. So I think it's nice to have the opportunity to really have a bit more footage in that regard to make things more interesting for people, but and to see how it works in the real terms. And just I don't know. I think it would be an experience. It'd be something to do. It's not so much about a massive business project. I just, I'd like to try making instructional. So why not?
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And hopefully one day you can make your way to Canada's capital, which is Ottawa, Canada, where I'm from, and get the roll together, and hopefully maybe you could teach some things to some of me and my friends. It'd be nice to learn from someone with a name out there right now. So
work it in, but yeah, I mean, again, it's just happy to go wherever I need. Wherever people be happy to have me. I'm not really in about making money or whatever out of it. I just want to go places and just have experiences, really. So, be more than happy to.
Awesome. And let me just thank you. You took some of your day to talk with us. I really appreciate it. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you very much. We're gonna wrap it up now. I just want to say thank you personally, and good luck this weekend at the American Nationals in Atlanta, I meant, and then American Nationals and the Pan Ams and all that stuff. So, good luck.
Well, thank you very much. I'm probably going to need it, but hey, if it was all easy, it wouldn't be any fun.
There. That's how I like to end the show. If it's not easy, it wouldn't be any fun if it was easy. I like that.
Cool, man. Well, thank you very much for having me, and yeah, there's so much else to say. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care, and we'll keep in touch.
Okay. Well, more training to do today.
Yep. Have fun. All right. So that was Oliver, and man, just taking time out. He's back to training probably within the hour. So just shows you he is in beast mode. Very humble, and hopefully we all could take away something from him and his experience. So sorry about that, guys. Coughing, and all right. I am closing down the show. That's the music. I'm going to talk over the music as it's going. Roll that music. Hang tight. Jared's not here to say it. Hang tight, dudes. Catch us next week. We'll have another killer episode. I'm out.